And what's perfect is talking about the fourth dimension, and there's Maureen going into, I mean, the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension, interdimensional, reweaving your reality for the future. There are some who predict gloom and doom, others who feed on your fear, and others who would have you chosen failure by mistake. Maureen has seen three Earths. Want to know more? Granted access to a dimension that has been closed to most of humanity for eons. Maureen Saint Germain is a direct channel to Source. Maureen Saint Germain is an internationally acclaimed ascension teacher and best-selling award-winning author. Her latest book, On the Flower of Life, is a re-release of her 2011 best-selling book, and she's my friend, and I love her.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. You know, there was a little confusion about what PowerPoint we were going to use, and I have worked very hard to bring you information, and I'm going to go with what you put out, even though when I checked in, I got that we would be doing higher self stuff. So we'll start with this and talk about the three Earths, because I think this is important. And we'll go from there. I'm so happy to be with you, and I'm sorry I'm not there in person, but we all know the drill. So it is what it is. And thank you for joining me, and thank you for being here. And I will start by sharing my screen and talking about this business of the three Earths. So first of all, I want to talk about the sun behind the sun. This is the great central sun. And you hear me often speak of the great central sun. It is the source of all life behind us. It is the energetic principle behind our presence on the creation. This being is also known as the dog star, and its true source is the energy. Our energy comes through the sun from the great central sun. And what's interesting is our sun has ascended and is already waiting on us. And there's all kinds of cool information to support that, which I will share with you. All right, so first of all, the Earth is now being lit by multiple sun simulators. This is something you hear randomly around on the web. And when I first read it, I thought, oh. And then I began watching the sun. And I have seen some very interesting sunrises, which would attest to such a thing. And then a very good friend of mine, who is a brilliant healer in her own right, that her father was involved in the secret programs that we know a little bit about here and there. And she said that he was heavily involved in these programs, and that he gave her a piece of information on the construction of an artificial sun. And he's passed, so I think it's okay that we talk about it a little bit. So what was the artificial sun used for? According to what he told her, and that's her quote now, it was 4 stories high. And he started his career as a wind tunnel test engineer. She thought that the purpose of testing materials was that it might be exposed to intense heat, and that's what they were using it for. It was an assumption. I think there was another agenda. I think that there's something else going on. A few days ago, I read the comments under a video, and I saw a reference. This was again my friend, not me, who found a patent on an artificial sun, obviously patented in 1971, just a few years before her father retired. She found the patent online, but she thinks there's another one there for Bausch and Lomb. Artificial sun patent. Doesn't that just knock you out? So what do you suppose the other reason was? The other reason, I believe, was to create a continuation of the version of Earth that we are on, that we haven't glommed onto the true process of our ascension. Kind of keep us locked where we are. So let's talk a little bit about the purpose of the free will zone. It allows human to expand the database. If you are already everything, which is source, the only way you can grow is to create a not God choice to increase experiences. So the 3D game has gone to the extreme, and source has now called the game. And the goal is to know the not God choice and choose God. That was the goal of this game, to have choice and to understand what's in front of you, learn from our mistakes, and then choose wisely. This is becoming 5D in a 3D world. Once you know your 5D way around, you won't want to play in 3D. Like Russian dolls, in 5D, you can participate in 3D. So you're not going to be leaving people behind, but you are choosing to elevate everyone else in the process. You can choose to experience 3D while you are a 5D being. And that means that you will receive an insult and take it as a compliment and see the love behind every feedback from anyone through your action, words, and deeds. And I'll give you a little example. Many years ago, when my stepfather was still alive, he was frustrated with me because I didn't understand what he was trying to get me to do. And he said, "Oh, you're just like your mother." And I smiled sweetly at him and said, "Thank you. That's one of the nicest things you've ever said to me." And of course, my mother leaned in and said, "I don't think," and I stopped her. And I said, "I want you to know I get to choose how I receive, and so do you." So when you fail to see that everything is a game right now, then the game will intensify until you wake up and say, "Wait just a minute here. This is all a facade. I can choose to opt out. I can use my God-given power to change my reflection of what's in front of me." So those who would have you fail have altered the timelines. They have seeded envy, jealousy, and greed. These are all things that they put into the game. They created seed matrices for lust and greed to lead humans away from their goal. They have filled their world with toys to satisfy this lust and cravings, distracting humans from their natural evolution. Humans who are in their heart are in their natural state. When people are in these angry places, judgment and such, that's not their normal state. That's not their ideal normal. Not something they have to reach for, but who they really are. Humans are kind, loving, and trusting, and the troublemakers intended to take over the planet. They have recognized their agenda has been foiled, and they have left. So the good news is the dark energy that was really running the show here has gone. And we are now on our way home to untether ourselves from all that has come our way. Those who are in cahoots with them, or have been in cahoots with those guys, are now trying to fill the void, and they too will collapse because they don't have enough resources to keep going. And they may take some humans with them in their self-destruct, but not too many, certainly not any of you. So here's your opportunity. There are 3 Earths. The ascension timeline is where we are now. And this is us maximizing our programming. So as you can see, I have written many books and created many opportunities, and we are creating heaven on earth in 2021 and 2022. So I've created a lot of guided meditations that will help you anchor in everything you need. I never was someone who could sit quietly. I've always had a little bit of a monkey mind. And so I started creating guided meditations to help me and everyone who has my way of being to step into their true power by using these wonderful tools. And I would highly recommend that you do a new meditation that's called the Golden Time. I may make it the free meditation for the month of November. So watch for it. And if you haven't signed up for my blog posts, I highly recommend you do so, because it will give you a free guided meditation every single month, and you don't have to do anything else. There's lots of other opportunities, but that'll get you going. So I want to talk a little bit about ascension symptoms that we have all had, and we're choosing to let go of the drama. And I use an essential oil blend called Remembrance to get rid of drama and shame. And I'm going to use some right now to help you anchor that energy in. And when you use these blends, you put them on your hand, and then you warm it in your hand, and then you put your hands in prayer position. And then I'm going to send it out to you. So this will help you clear your own shame. And you know, it's funny, shame keeps us from behaving at our best, because shame is a way to hold us back. You know, if I'm ashamed of my weight or my appearance, then I try to hide. And I don't want people to know because I have shame. But shame is a way to manipulate me and to make me afraid to be who I really am. So you can journal and use your dreams and ideas, pay attention to what you eat, and do your best to keep your eating as clean as you can. When you go for your walk, when you go for your daily walk, which I highly recommend because it helps clear your pineal, make sure you leave your cell phone behind unless you know you're in a place that's not safe and you need to have your cell phone. Otherwise, leave it behind and have less of the EMF on you. And the way you clean up your pineal is through certain tools, which we may be able to share with you. And also tamarind, which is a tincture you can get. And it comes in a bottle like this. You can buy it like this. And it's readily available. And I just put a few drops in the water every day. And I also double up on it when I've had dental work, because dental work will, the dentists use fluoride in everything. And I don't want you to not go to the dentist, but we have to do some remedial work when you do go. And of course, cacao nibs. One of my good students said to me that whenever he is feeling hungry, he just munches on a few cacao nibs, and it really gives him a boost and it makes him feel better and also quells his hunger. So now we're going from a year of change to a year, next year, of expanded possibilities. So the two Earths that are in competing timelines are this.
Oh no.
Okay, we got some voice in here. Let me just turn the sound off.
Sorry.
Yeah. Can you mute the, okay, I think the person who joined muted themselves. So one Earth is a crash and burn Earth, and one Earth is the do-over Earth. You are not on either one of those. You are on the ascending Earth. And the reason I know is because you're on this class and because you're on a spiritual path and you're trying to learn and grow. So I like to see fireworks. This is us. So sometimes you have doubts. You're terrified of the virus, the vaccine, I'm losing control, what if I'm wrong? And all of that is valid, but then what are you going to do? Fear is a messenger. Fear is a messenger. Change your belief and change your behavior. When we focus on what's not working, it locks us into 3D. So it's okay to be aware of what isn't working. Don't be walking around with blinders, but at the same time, don't spend a lot of time and energy on what's not working. Every one of us is transforming ourselves into a higher vibrational being, into moving from third to fifth. And while we transition from third dimension into fifth, we can fall back into third simply by stepping into the polarity puddle, as I call it. Like a mud puddle, we almost always didn't see it before we stepped into it. So be aware of the polarity puddle. It's quite funny when I think about it. All right, next. I want to tell you about a story that I was faced with. I was in a situation where I had gone to the altar and asked Mary Magdalene to help me with the blends. And they were in bigger bottles and they were in a different, slightly different formulation. And I asked Mary Magdalene to help me since she was the one who brought us these blends to begin with. And I said, if I'm supposed to do this, I need some serious help. So a few weeks later, I met somebody who was a real marketing guru, and I asked him if he could help me figure out what to do next with the blends. And this person thought I was saying, put this in your company. And when he started to back up, I backed up myself and put my hand out, give it back. I don't beg. And he said, no, I'm being told I need to work with you. And ultimately we formed a partnership, and my blends are now being distributed through the Vibrance Company. So as I'm approaching this transition, I confided in a few close members of my team. And one member of my team said to me, Maureen, you're giving up a huge amount of revenue and you're losing control. And what if, and I'm thinking to myself, what if I'm wrong? What if this idea is just in my head and, whatever. So the ego wants to cling to old patterns because it's the job of the ego to keep you safe. And safe in terms of the ego means no change. So fear is the unknown, often rooted in mental and emotional drama. Where does the ego get its data set and determining what was safe for you? And the answer is it comes from your history. That's why learning to step out of patterns and confidently saying what's going on becomes so critical. It opens the way to learn, accept, and adopt something that you did not know or understand from your experiences or feelings. So in this case, I went to the altar and I opened the Akashic records and I asked, is this a bad idea to do this partnership? Because I still hadn't signed the contract. I could still back out. And the record keeper said that this was a good thing and that I could proceed, recommended I proceed, but I was still afraid. So then I said, well, what if I just change my mind and not do it? And they gave me a 3-word answer. A missed opportunity. So what I said was, nope, I'm on it. And that's what you can say. So when you're faced with a big decision and you're trying to make meaning out of things in your life, ask for guidance to show you. Ask for guidance to put a roadblock in front of anything that is not part of your highest and best good. So if you're having experiences and trying to make meaning out of them, stop. Let it be what it is. Now, one thing I want to tell you about dimensional shifts, and a lot of them are going on these days, is it will feel like your room is shaking. It will feel like the space around you is shaking. You may even feel like your body is shaking, like when you do certain kinds of exercise that cause your body to vibrate. But then you realize nothing is moving, that you're really not moving. And it is scary if you don't know what it is. So when that happens, and if that happens, take a moment, get into your heart. Now, how do you get into your heart? You take a moment and you think about something you love, a pet, an infant, a walk on the beach, a beautiful environment that makes you happy. Now, close your eyes and do that now. Now give that feeling a name. You can call it heart love. You can call it expanded energy. You can call it a color like green, the color of the heart chakra, or red or pink colors associated with the heart. And use that as a shortcut so that whenever you're in that fearful place or a scary situation, you can move right into your heart. And what that does is put you back into control and into your body and into a place of power. So expand your exposure and allow. So some data, some information that comes in is a matter of you expanding your exposure and considering things that you had not thought of. Many people are happy with the systems of allowing, but sometimes allowing is not expanding. So we need both. Meditation is one way to do that. And I am going to ask you, anybody who wants the free meditation that I'm going to talk to you about called the Golden Time, just send me an email and say I was at your New Life Expo, and I will send it to you as a gift. The golden bowl is a set of sinus cavities that encircle your head. I call it the satellite dish to call home. It won gold in the Coalition of Visionary Resources annual evaluations. This tool is used to improve your connection to source. And the way you can get it for free, you don't even have to email me. You don't have to give your password or anything. Golden Bowl-MM. Golden Bowl-MM. And that will give you the opportunity to download this guided meditation for free. If you want to improve your connection to source and to step into your heart more frequently with more power, this is the way to do it. When you allow yourselves to be very heart-centered, but narrow in your allowing of belief systems, we are creating a version of the future that limits our abilities. So how do we create and receive more than what we've been capable of before? And the answer is the golden time. And that meditation I will send to you if you will write me. So you have to do two things. You can download this one for free. And if you write me for the golden time or watch on my blog, I'm thinking about putting the golden time out for free for the month of November as a Thanksgiving gift. It is a very, very powerful meditation. And the golden time will allow you to not only create the great golden age for yourself, but then after you anchor this energy into you, you then invite family members in your thoughts that you're in communication with, that you love, that you care about, and coworkers or people that are in your circle. And you invite them to walk into this golden time with you. And then we include a prayer for all of humanity. And it is a very powerful guided meditation. You will be asked to participate. So there'll be certain commands. I now command, I am in the golden time, and like that. So you'll be repeating after me. And it's very, very powerful. And I actually did it this morning in preparation of this presentation. So a recent review of the golden time meditation, it has become my go-to tool for immediate stress relief, centering, going quiet in 5D, staying above duality and polarity, and surrendering to my soul, to my higher self, and to God within. I have recommended it to many of my clients who have also benefited from using it. So now let's talk about the two Earths and the competing timelines. What is really going on? Well, the crash and burn version of the Earth is a timeline where the versions of the reality are fading away, and they're fading away into another timeline where they are continuing to crash and burn. The do-over Earth is all those well-meaning people that you and I know that have not opened themselves up to their own divinity. They have refused to accept that they are greater than just the human body. Maybe they're stuck in a religious belief system, but they're good people, and they get to do everything over. And you get to help them because you get to interact with them. You get to help them. And eventually, these two Earths, the do-over Earth and the ascending Earth, can merge. If we're successful, those two will merge and will take off together, which would be ideal. But you don't have to wait to get into the ascending Earth. And that's the important thing. And another thing you can do is to ask for the magnanimous dimension. And we'll talk about that at the end as well, I believe. So now, how do you contemplate what you want? Do you need to swim upstream? Where is your energy focused? How can you do so many things? Where do you get help? And what indeed do you focus on? Disaster, drama, or disappointment? And I will tell you, ask for what you want. Yes, it's good to be informed. If you know there's a tornado, of course you want to batten down the hatches, but then pray for everybody else and see it as a happy outcome. When there's a storm, send love and light to protect your trees so that you can be in a good place and protect what you care about. Stay focused, heart-centered, and connected. And one of the ways you do that is through the golden bowl meditation. Now, all the golden meditations are part of a bigger context of the golden energy. And we will continue to talk about that. So where do you find your joy and contentment and bliss? Well, number one, you look for rainbows. Now, I don't know if it's noticeable to you on the picture on the right, but the picture on the left really shows the expanded colors that are now visible in the rainbows. Take another look at another picture and you'll see new colors. So when you see a rainbow, you can acknowledge the new colors. Those colors have been there, but we are now able to see them because we have become fifth dimensional. And that's another way you know. When I moved into my new home in Arizona, there was a rainbow every single night for the first 3 nights. And every time I was in a very contemplative place, I would have the most amazing rainbows. And I'm in Arizona. So salmons swim upstream, but you do not need. Instead, you ask, how is that going to come together? I wonder how that will happen. I'm asking my angels, my guides, dragons, and other helpers of the light to assist me now. Don't ask for helpers. Ask for helpers who are of the light, because there are helpers who will show up to help you, but they are imposters, and they will turn on you, or they will give you false information. So always, always, always ask for beings of 100% God light when you make your prayer invocation. How can I be part of the solution? Did I cause it? And here's what I will say when you're surrounded by persons filled with doom and gloom. Champion their right to have those feelings. It's okay. You don't have to make them wrong or bad. There's no need to resist. If you're evolved, you don't really mind if they're still children. They're going to get there, and your fine example will do more than your talking to convince them. So if doom and gloom is their choice, they may have it. Give up your need to be right, the need to know, or the need to feel superior to others. And that's a big one for all of us. We are moving to a place where we are all in a state of 100% perfection, where we don't have any shame about anything. If your family and friends want doom and gloom, let them. They will find others who share that preference. If you do not wish for that, it's no threat to you because you're holding space for them, and you know you'll be able to interact with them in the way that the two earths are going to interact. So there's no problem. You are the way shower in that time. How can you learn your own lessons? And one of the ways that I recommend that you open your heart is to ask to learn your lessons through love. So what I'm suggesting here is to announce to yourself, I choose to learn my lessons through love. I choose to open to the magnanimous dimension. And the magnanimous dimension is defined on my website. But it's a way to have third, fourth, and fifth all smoothly transition so you can float between the two effortlessly. This is why the two earths are able to interact so easily. All right. So now that you've opened your heart and you're choosing to learn your lessons through love, what's next? And the answer is activate your pineal. So Edgar Cayce said, keep the pineal gland operating and you won't grow old. You will always be young. Your pineal is affected by fluoride, electromagnetic frequencies, electromagnetic radiation. It's sensitive to variations in light, and works with the circadian rhythms of your body. So it's very important that you work on this and help your body. So one of the things that we do in my organization is we have a membership program, and you can reach me anytime, and we do a live channeled and training every single month. We give you answers to your questions. The monthly calls are phenomenal. You get monthly training, and it matches the chapters of the book, the best-selling book, Waking Up in 5D. And remember, this was the first 5D book that went out there because I was already operating at 5D when I wrote that book. So the final thing is special discounts and access to products or services. And what that means is for $11 a month, and the first month is free, you get 10% off on all the products and services, which is spectacular. So now, how can you amp up your pineal and your DNA? The answer is to command these phrases. So if you have your phone handy, you can make a photocopy, take a picture of it. If you want to say this prayer for yourself right now, I'm going to say it with you, and we're going to call in the higher self and all the angelic realm and your beings of light that serve you and work with you. And we are now going to make these statements in a commanding voice. I now command my higher self to reactivate my DNA, connect me to my 5D heart, body, and brain. I now command my pineal gland to distribute my pineal gland energies throughout my body, radiating outward in a torus formation. I now command my pineal gland to transform into its highest level of functionality perpetually. That's pretty powerful. So get your picture of this, and then we'll move on. So polarity is expanding, and what that will do is change the mix. So everything is available to us without extremes of polarity. So what is polarity? It's electric and magnetic, mental versus emotional, and both. So the middle ground is expanding, which is very, very powerful. Now I'm going to show you a picture of electromagnetic waves because I really want you to see and understand some very important principles. The blue line is the electrical field, and the red lines are the magnetic field. And what I want you to notice is this is a 2D drawing to show you a 3D explanation of how electromagnetic waves work. So they have this 90-degree contrast. The amplitude is the high and low of each of those waves. Now it's totally amazing, and a lot of people don't realize this, is the magnetic field and the electrical field of electromagnetic waves is in a position to both oppose and attract, and no one understands why. And think about two magnets. If you put them together, they will attract. If you reverse the poles, they will push away. And in an electromagnetic field, those waves are completely balanced and moving in a way that pushes everything forward. So that push-pull moves the waves across the field. And this is something a lot of us don't understand. There's also electromagnetic waves that are harmful to us. And that is higher amplitudes and different kinds of energy that are not harmonious to our bodies. And our bodies have to level up to get used to it. We can also create an energetic space that will help us be balanced in the middle of all that. And I will teach you that. So when you are in a situation, a personality situation, a conversation, a relationship, notice both sides, acknowledge, move to the middle, and find the balance that lets you have the momentum you seek. You see, when they're balanced, there's movement. So Your choice of language in 3D is very important. There is no right way, there is no wrong way, there is no have to, and there is no the truth. So all those words lock us into 3D, lock us into believing that there's a limitation on what we're capable of, and there is not. So in 5D, we use some very cool phrases. So hopefully by now you know that I always ask for a day of heaven on earth for me and everyone I come in contact with and everyone I'm in contact with. And I will end with this phrase as well. And I highly recommend that you use this as a way to set the tone for yourself and everywhere you go. I've also had the good fortune to hear from other people. And this came from Neil Donald Walsh. And he said his mother always said, God bless it, when his father said the opposite thing. And he asked her one time, why do you say that a couple of times? And she said, well, I don't want that to be the last thing God hears. And I thought that was so sweet, so pure, and so beautiful. So what is your definition of normal? And the answer is it changes daily. And it's your job to step into your power and to create something that allows you to stay in the center by moving into your heart whenever you're in fear. And this is why the shortcut to moving into your heart is so important. So practice this every time you want to do a meditation. Allow yourself to remember a pleasant experience and then move that into your heart and allow your heart to expand. And then say your magic word that you always say that anchors that in. And then when the emergency happens that you need to get in your heart really fast because you're scared, you say the magic word and your heart opens up and dispels everything. Stay in wonder. One way you can validate all of this is to make note of this in your journal. There are so many not normal events. I tell people, please don't use the word weird. Weird is such a pejorative. It has a feeling of not being appropriate, not being good, not being healthy. And yes, it shows surprise, but better to stay in wonder. I wonder why that's going on. I wonder what this coincidence means. I wonder why this and this seem to be matched. And then, as you write in your journal, you can announce to the universe, I am ready for more. What if you allowed yourself to be open-minded? Do your beliefs keep you safe or stuck? So don't let your beliefs control you. Don't let your beliefs control you. One way you do this is you only tell your sad story 3 times. So count every time you tell your sad story. And don't let yourself go past 3. It changes everything because you can tolerate some, I'll call it darkness or sadness. But if you keep rerunning that same sad story, you put a divot in your fascia, and then it's a lot harder to stop doing it. Patience produces pleasure. That's a hard one for most of us in the West because we like things to move fast and we're accustomed to more opportunities to do the next thing. But what if your pain is too great? What if you're really suffering from some big stuff? And the answer is ask God to show you how much you are loved. I went through a dark period when my first marriage of 25 years broke up. And I asked for a way to find my way out of that black hole. And I also said, and don't make it too much effort. I think about how funny it is to when we hear someone like me say, I need this, but then don't make it too hard. It's really funny. I hope you appreciate the humor. I do. But in the moment, that's what I did. And I was amazed. And I did this every day until I forgot to do it. And that's when I realized that it was working. Whenever you spend a lot of time suffering over your suffering, you're giving free rent to someone else. They're taking up space that you could occupy your brain with in another way. Find out what value you get from suffering and decide to get over it. Decide to be different. It's not enough to suffer or be wounded or to have a blow to the heart. It's what we do after that that matters. So remember, as a 5D'er, you can play in 3D and influence those around you, and they can step up into 5D. So before I go on, I would like to ask Mark if we could take a moment and find out if we have questions, because I'd really like to have some personal interaction with our audience, if that's possible.
It's possible. So, first of all, anybody there, if you have a question, just grab the microphone, come to the front of the room, and sit down by the computer that's on that desk. Hello?
Hi.
Wait, if you're, there you go.
Yeah. Hi.
You're great, by the way, Maureen.
Thank you.
Yeah. My name is Ariel Cohen. I'm just looking for my soulmate, a wife, a Jewish lady, because I'm Jewish myself. You know.
Okay, so I'm going to take you through a little practice. And so your need and desire is a beloved who is Jewish.
Yes.
But are you like deeply into your tradition?
Yes.
Okay, so not only Jewish, but has this commitment that you have. Do you see what I mean? Because you can find someone who is Jewish who doesn't care.
She doesn't have to be. Yeah. She doesn't have to be like like deeply religious. Just as long as she's Jewish, she doesn't need
Okay,
to
so
be.
she's Jewish and she has respect for her tradition and her and yours. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Now we're gonna do some work that's found in the book Be a Genie. And this is based on sacred geometry. I'm not going to explain the whole sacred geometry part, but it's in the book if you want to read it. And what I want you to do is to pretend with me, okay? And for the audience, you're going to have to help him because he's going to need help. There is no case that I've ever done this exercise with where the person in the hot seat didn't need help. So everybody put your thinking caps on and think about this because I'm going to ask you some questions. All right, pretend right now that you are happily married with your beloved. What proof is there that you are happily with her?
That we get along with each other. We love and appreciate each other.
Yes. But we want something that's really tangible. And I'll give you a hint. Make it a celebration. What would you be celebrating if you were really happily married?
Anniversaries, but also.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so pretend you're in your anniversary celebration. And then what you would do is you would celebrate probably by clinking glasses, right? There might be something special in the glass. And we don't have to know what it is, but you're going to.
Smoothies, milkshakes.
And now you're going to say something to her and she's going to say something to you. Who speaks first?
I guess I would speak first.
And what would you say?
I love you. You're so special.
How about,
so glad I met
I'm
you.
so grateful found you.
Yeah, I was okay. I was yeah. Sorry, I was like you just beat me to it. But yeah,
So this is important. So what we're doing is
I'm so happy that we met.
practicing with the 3 dimensions. So 3D is real-time conversation, 4D is your happiness, and 5D moves you into bliss. So now, when you say, and I want you to close your eyes and pretend you're an actor who has been with his beloved and is celebrating an anniversary. We don't even have to know whether it's the anniversary you met, the anniversary you got married, doesn't matter. We're celebrating an anniversary and you are the man who has been exquisitely happy. Okay, now keep your eyes closed. Say the words you would say to her as if she's sitting across from you.
Honey, I'm so glad we met. It was the most wonderful day of my life. And I,
Okay, stop.
yeah.
I don't want you to focus on the day you met because that throws you back into the past. You're already beyond that. And besides, if I'm your beloved and you tell me you're so happy about the day you met, what about yesterday? Are you still happy with me?
Of course.
Okay, I'm playing with you, so keep going. So what we want is for you to imagine that you've been together for a while and you've had all these wonderful experiences and your life is so full and so wonderful that you can hardly express it. But you're not going to think about the day you met. You're going to say, I'm so happy that I met you. That's okay. But then you're going to say, you know, all this time I've had with you has been so amazing and so wonderful. And I'm blessing us for another 50 years. Or something like that. Do you see where you're in an anniversary, you never just talk about, I'm so happy for the day we met. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do it again. This is acting class and you are the actor. So close your eyes again and imagine you are in that moment that is now the present. Even though we're projecting you into the future, it's your present right now. And your beloved is sitting across from you. And you're thinking she is so amazing and she fit the entire criteria that you had in place. What do you say?
Sweetheart, I'm more than happy. I'm exhilarating.
Okay, we're at time, so I'm gonna move this along.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, number one, this is a colloquial thing that people do, and you're only doing it a tiny little bit, but you're saying, sweetheart, I'm so happy we met. So your body's saying no, and your mouth is saying yes.
Oh, okay, of course, I would be hugging her, showing affection.
This is important because everybody does this. It's not just you, okay? Everyone does this. And no matter who I play with on this particular tool, it happens. So, you know, I'm grateful to you for playing. So here's the script I want you to work with. And then you'll make it your own, okay? So when you close your eyes, and I'll be you, and you be the beloved, and you'll hear how it's gonna go, okay? I am so grateful. I thank God every day that we found each other, that we've been together all this time, that we've had such a good time together, and I'm blessing us for the future. And then you hear her say, I didn't know there were men like you who would love me for me. And if you don't get all verklempt in this moment, you're not doing it right, because I am. And those of you who are watching closely, you can see my eyes are all tearing up. That's how you know you're doing it. When you hear those words in your head that you're saying, and then you hear the words that she is saying. And what this does is gives you the 3D confirmation that it's real, and your body will believe it, even though it's a magic space that you have created. So if you want more information on how to get the book, Be a Genie. And I am sorry I went over a few minutes. Jill, thank you for being so patient. I think you're on next. I'm so grateful to Mark for the opportunity to be together, and I love you all.
Sure, thank you very much. Love you, Sarah. Great.
Thank you for that question.
Did you enjoy?
You're welcome. Yeah. Welcome. Same
For something specific.
I wish you success.
I thought you had the same thing.
So Mark, are we waiting for someone or are we
Suggest
what's our situation? I'm happy to talk a little bit longer if somebody else wants to play, but I don't want to go over because I don't like when people do it to me.
I have found you the temper area. Oh, yeah.
goodbye and thank you. See you next year.
Thank you so much and thank you for coming.
God bless.